There are nearly 35,000 urban slums in India. These house about 10 million people and most often lack electricity, clean water, sanitation and cooking gas. This lack of basic infrastructure is caused by a myriad challenges around the existence of slums. And this compounds the difficulties that slum dwellers face. But innovative and affordable solutions that work for such temporary settlements might just be what is needed. Proving this true is the team at Pollinate Energy in Bangalore. This is a team that has learnt from urban slum communities about their needs and is offering solutions guided by experience in microfinance, renewable energy and economics. Their first product is a solar-powered lamp that will also charge mobile phones. And they hope to be soon offering more. Here's a conversation with Ben and Monique from the team. I find out how they started up, what motivates them and what their big dream is. I think I'm surprised that there are communities in cities which don't have access to basic electricity, right? Tell me more about these communities, the range of, the types of communities that you're working with. Where in the cities are they? Are they sort of on the outskirts, or do you find them like in the middle of all the development?
Well, you're not alone in thinking that these communities don't exist. Part of the reason that we started Pollinate was because we couldn't find anyone to work with them because nobody believed that they existed. Every NGO that I went to, or many NGOs that I went to speak to in Bangalore told me that there was no market. They wouldn't provide us with any links to staff or any funding, or sometimes refused to even meet with us because they were like, you're solving a problem that doesn't exist. And every time we would go into those meetings and we'd be like, please just come with us for 5 minutes down the road. We'll be able to show you, We went to visit one of the really big banks in their office building, again, who told us that these communities didn't exist. And we took them to the top floor of their building and pointed to a community that was right nearby and said, that's one of the biggest communities we work with and they don't have access to electricity.
It would be near impossible for them to get a legal electricity connection because they don't have a permanent residential address and they don't have proper identification to be able to make that agreement with an electricity company. So in that sense, they're very limited in their options and they're forced to rely on something like kerosene.
The census data for Bangalore says that there's about 12,000 people in the city that are using kerosene as their primary source of light. So even in that census, they have admitted that there are, a sizable minority of people that don't have access to electricity. In the time that we've been working for the last 6 to 12 months, we've actually served 14,000 people within the city limits of Bangalore and found many, many more that we haven't been able to serve yet. So if that's...
So the number's much bigger.
Exactly, yeah. We imagine that it will be very similar in other cities as well. We already know in Hyderabad it's a very similar situation. And I was speaking to a guy last night that was telling me that he had been working in a large slum in Mumbai that was exactly the same. So I think we need to go to these cities and spend time there to understand the scale of the problem, but we believe that it's in the millions.
Pollinate's solar-powered lamps with mobile chargers sell at 1,600 rupees and 2,300 rupees. Paid for at an EMI of rupees 300 to 500 a week, a customer can own this Pollinate product in about 5 to 8 weeks. Savings on kerosene over the next 4 to 5 months successfully pay back for the total investment.
At the moment, we're selling 2 products, a smaller light with a mobile phone charger and a larger light that has 2 mobile phone chargers.
Both lights will charge in 1 day of sunshine. On the highest setting, which is the setting that you would use for reading or something similar, they will last for 6 hours. On the lowest setting, which is still adequate for moving about in the home, it should last about 30 hours, which is quite a long time. So generally people won't have any problem with the light going off during the night. And you can also charge a mobile phone off it using the same 1 day's charge, which is nice.
That's fantastic. What are the other problems, that come with this lack of infrastructure? So electricity is one thing. There must be other aspects that you are looking at too, right?
Beyond electricity, there's problems such as, a lack of access to efficient cooking fuels. So at home, we would typically cook with gas or an electric stove, but they're, again, still forced to rely on wood for their cooking, which produces a lot of smoke and indoor air pollution, which is the second largest killer of women and children in India. And if you move into the safe drinking water space, again, they can't get access to safe drinking water a lot of the time. So, and then in other areas, you look at, as I mentioned before, their shelters leave a lot to be desired, and also something as simple as a toilet. Often they don't have access to a toilet either. So, you know, we've spoken to women who say they get up before sunrise to go to the toilet, and then they hold on all day until after dark because they're too embarrassed to go in public during daylight hours, and that's not a very nice situation.
Now, your vision with Pollinate is much bigger than helping people have light at home, have electricity at home whilst being off the grid. So tell me about what your plans are.
So I think what we find is that a lack of light was just one problem, but there are many, many problems that they face. And like all things, there are many, many innovations which can kind of solve that problem for them. The big problem we found was that there's a missing link between all those innovations that are out there and the people that really need them. So that's Pollinate's grand vision, is to say, well, let's do all the work in finding those products, and let's do all the work with finding these communities, and then we'll create that link in the middle, which is actually going to bring those products to the people that need them most. Mm-hmm. So I guess there's two parallel paths happening there. One is to get those products ready, and the other is to extend our reach so that no one in India has to face that problem of not being able to access those products.
And are you working on other products?
Yes, we are. So we're looking at all types of products really that could improve the lives of these people's living situations. So we're looking into efficient cook stoves, some kind of water filtration or purification device, and also assessing whether we can provide a better shelter to them, and other products in the sanitation space.
The team at Pollinate Energy reaches out to slum communities through a network of pollinators. These are individuals from within the communities who are enterprising and act as information providers, sales agents, EMI collectors, and service facilitators. By working closely with urban slum communities and with people working for their inclusion, Pollinate Energy has been able to serve over 500 communities in Bangalore. Today, the team is also developing products to solve problems other than the lack of power supply. Here's the team sharing their lessons from business in India.
So your work has been quite intensive in not just in terms of identifying these communities and identifying products that will work for them, but also understanding their needs in the first place and understanding their lifestyle and understanding the larger issues around such communities, right? What are some of the biggest learnings that you'd like to share with me today?
That's an interesting question.
I think one of the biggest learnings as an entrepreneur that I learned is that it doesn't have to be perfect or right the first time. You should just go in and have a go at something, and if it, when it goes wrong, then you will see what the right answer is, rather than trying to guess what it is before you've even started.
Like, following on from that is that you're never going to finish. As long as you keep working on it, you can always keep doing better, and there will always be new problems. So every time we think we've solved something, it turns out we haven't. So we just have to keep working at it, which is, it means that you shouldn't try and do everything yourself. You should get other people around you and get them on board and get them passionate about what you're doing so that they can help you and, do the same to people around them, and hopefully it infects everybody and we all start doing really good stuff.
What's it been like to do this, to come from outside of India, to get to know these problems so personally and up close, to be part of the lives of people that you probably didn't know about until a few years ago, to understand their daily lives and to try and make that better?
I think it was pretty enlightening what Ben first said when he came to India, was that these people are really not any different from us. They want the same things that we want in our lives. They want to be happy and content, live in a safe environment, have somewhere good for their kids to be able to play and go to school. And really, like, I guess that's, obviously there are huge differences as well between my life and their life, but there are more similarities than there are differences. And it's amazing, like, how much, you know, a common joke can be shared, or, you know, how someone falling over is funny in any part of the world, no matter where you are. So
I think the classic example would have to be if you walked around Sydney, for example, in Australia, and went and knocked on a stranger's door, there's no way that they would greet you warmly and invite you inside to have a cup of tea.
especially if you spoke a different language.
Yeah, they would sort of say, "Who are you? What are you doing here? Can you get off my property?" Whereas we walk into a slum community and we get greeted with absolute kindness, and people are more than willing to invite us into their home and make us a cup of tea. And that difference, I guess, really stands out to us because, you know, it's a very different kind of welcome that we would be used to, yeah, which is nice.
And also people, I mean, there's a lot of preconceptions as well that if you go into the communities, people are only being nice to you because they think that they're going to get something for free. But that really hasn't been the case. Like, people don't come up to us and say, "Oh, so is this product free?" Their initial thought about it is that they're going to have to pay for it. So their first question is, how much does it cost? So that's been sort of interesting to see as well.
Yeah.
I think this is a fantastic model. I think the fact that you're understanding the problems upfront and personal, then you're looking at what products are going to work for them, you know, in their setting. And the third thing is the whole network of distribution and working with people who are from those same communities, working in those communities, delivering the products and helping you with collections. I think it's a brilliant model. So thank you so much for joining me, and all the very best to Pollinate.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for joining us on this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Do leave a comment. We're on, of course, YouTube. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. We're also on email, info@chaiwithlakshmi.in. So send in what you think about this episode and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
If you enjoyed that conversation, here's more.